African spiritualism creates this low trust society, which is a terrible way to build a society because it's twisted. Let me give you an example. If someone walks into your house and they spit on the ground or they cough in a funny way, that could be some sort of incantation. That could be some way they are cursing you or casting a spell or laying something down, a marker, or some sort of spiritual curse or something like that on your home, on your family. This is how these beliefs work. If someone gets sick in your house, it's never just someone got sick. It's always suspicious because could this be a curse that someone has sent upon us? And everyone in that case is a suspect, actually. If they act a little funny, if they say something off at a family function, it's not just someone said something awful or weird. Something you don't understand is always cast in a matter of, is this person trying to spiritually curse us?
You're a demon.
How can you trust anyone if you live in a society like that, under that sort of belief? This is what these ancient beliefs propagate, because that's how they work. That's the system. They are built on the sort of jealousy and taking from one to gain for yourself. And that's not the sort of philosophy DJ Sbu has always pushed. He was always about being kind to people, treating them the way you'd like to be treated, but now he's pushing the whole system that is returning people to the sacrifice, low trust society. Because in this sort of belief system, what starts to develop? For one, you can't trust your neighbor, because if he plants some sort of tree and it grows really fast, maybe he puts something in there to sort of get the whole community under his spell. If you hear something on the roof or in the ceiling, it must be them sending something your way at night. Your neighbors have special rats or special bats or special doves that fly into your house or on top of your house, or a monkey that climbs onto the ceiling. If you don't believe this, you might think that sounds a little strange or a little funny. People believe this and people practice these things, and I can tell you right now, they're quite real actually.
You're a demon.
But here's the thing. Have they advanced the society? With all that practice, with all those rituals, with all that magic, has the black community advanced? Of course, the answer is no. You see, in a society like that, you don't know who you can trust. Thus, you find people being very jealous because every time they see someone gaining something, it must be out of some sort of witchcraft. You find that people begin to hate when other people succeed because it might be some kind of witchcraft where they took something from you or from someone else, where people always say, why do things never work out for me? It's always based on that sort of spiritual belief. It's not based on maybe things aren't working out for me. I need to try a different approach. I need to work harder. Maybe I need a new job. Maybe I need some new skills. No, it's always about someone took something from me. And the reason my car keeps breaking down and I'm having all these problems and then the pipes burst and I have more problems is because my neighbors are cursing me.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Or my cousin hates me and is jealous. Why does he have a new Mercedes and my car breaks as soon as he got that new Mercedes? Can you see the sort of society you start to live in? Because that's how those systems work. It creates jealousy and it creates hatred. If your son loses a job, someone must be after him because they always hated your son because he was so clever, he was so handsome, and all of these sort of things. But other people's children are advancing. Maybe your son's going through a hard time, or maybe he's a loser. I don't know. However, in the systems Wu's pushing, someone is after him, and we must go after them because that's what you have to do. You have to now rebut the spell with your own spell. You have to take from them. These sort of spiritual beliefs create bad communities where people don't trust each other. That is the enemy of advancement for a society, because in any society that's prospering, you need a high trust community, and high trust communities win because they build great societies and great countries. The worship of ancestors and African spiritual beliefs have already lost the fight against colonialism. These people brought in here not their Western religions actually, but the Middle Eastern religion, the religion particularly of Christianity, which is the juxtaposition to those spiritual beliefs of the ancestors. Christianity creates a high trust community. Let me give you two examples. If someone does you wrong, you forgive them. You don't curse them and try to get them back and send something their way. And if you want something, you don't have to make someone else lose anything.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
The ideas of African spirituality have already lost because the foreigners came here and put their own ideas over the populations that lived here and ran right over the people of this country and built a country and built a society with high trust and with a certain type of morality that has won out in every continent and every single place that it has ever been tried. Their mistake was putting in a lot of their own ideas like apartheid and racism, and that's exactly how the whole thing fell apart. Because once you put in evil ideas like that, the idea's already flawed. You didn't even need them. Think about how Christianity has taken over the world. It's not by violence. You must understand that the Europeans, when they came over here, had already been converted to Christianity, and they brought it into the country because they believed it, and it also happens to work. They were no longer pagans and druids and worshipping Thor and Loki. They had left all of that behind. The Dutch weren't doing that anymore. They were some of the most Christian people in the world, but they also brought in their evil ideas of racism and prejudice and slavery that are not in line with the Bible, actually, of stealing people and enslaving them. So they now worship Jesus Christ and were saved. They changed their societies and they came here and they did the same, actually. Whether you like that or not, that's what happened. Whether you think that was a good thing or not, that's what happened. That's what built this country and many countries from Australia to New Zealand to America and anywhere else you can think of, because all those countries also had similar traditional beliefs to the old African systems, and they were pushed out gradually by the monotheistic tradition of Christianity because it builds better societies. The African traditions are also feminized. This is yet another reason you shouldn't take on those old traditions of African spirituality and worship of their ancestors. African spiritualism doesn't build great societies because it's also effeminate. It doesn't even build good families. And the African spiritual beliefs, just like many beliefs all over the world, have had this sort of effeminate energy that does not build countries and looks to break men and break society.
Gay!
That's why a lot of the time when you see a person who is a man, who is a sangoma, who practices these things, they often come across as effeminate, and the women that practice it come across as masculine. It's androgynous, it's disgusting, and it's gross. And these African beliefs, much like the beliefs in Thor and Loki, have lost to more logical beliefs like Christianity. Every religion has a source, whether you think it's man or man being helped by some sort of a spiritual entity, whether it's God, demons, the universe. The religion of African spirituality, as people cling to it as if that's what makes them Africans, you must remember, just like any other religion, whether it was being a pagan in Europe or for the Aztecs from South America, it was all made up. It all came from somewhere. It all had a time where it began. You don't have to cling to it as if it makes you less African if you don't believe in it. If you're proud of being an African, that's good. You don't have to share this religion. As a matter of fact, Christianity has built the best societies because it claims to be right from the only God that exists. But it also sees the world in the most logical way as the world is, and builds for high trust communities with masculine energy, which is the force that moves the world forward. And it builds these high trust societies with a morality that allows people to thrive, and it is not made up. You can disconnect yourself from the ancient practices and all the things that are used to scare people and want to intimidate people into being part of it, whether they want to or not, because otherwise, if they don't join, they'll get sick or they'll lose something or they'll die. I've seen many people overcome these things. You don't have to fall for it, no matter what the threat is, no matter what granny or auntie is telling you, and it's usually the women, what granny, auntie, or mother is telling you, you don't have to go through the practices and get initiated. You don't have to join. No matter the hardships, you will get through it. These things are weak and they've already been beaten, and they will only take from you, because when you're cursing someone, you first have to curse yourself. That's why you do the ritual. It is also preying on you. You are always better off when you reject these things. In the end, you always come out better. Christianity and the practices thereof are far more logical, far more beneficial for the person and the society. Think about it. And as a country, we should reject African spirituality and what DJ Swoo is pushing, unfortunately, because it does not build great societies, families, individuals, or countries, because it is an inferior belief system that is at its foundation, at its base, decrepit, corrupted, and twisted, and does not work. Reject African spiritualism for yourself, for your family, and for South Africa. Take on far more logical belief systems, and I would say the best one for building a society, a family, and an individual is Christianity. I recommend Christianity. African spirituality, worshipping the ancestors, witchcraft, paganism, Druidism, Aztecism, whatever, and wherever it comes from, and whatever color those people were, whatever you want to call it, these things are inferior. That's why every one of those cultures had to push it out to the one true thing that has built societies and people. And in my view, that is Christianity, and history backs me up on that. And if South Africa wants to thrive politically or otherwise, we should reject the African spiritualism once and for all and not see it rise as some sort of identity that people cling to. It was just made up. It's just like anything else. We can define today what it means to be an African. We do not need to cling to the past, especially to bad ideas that do not build societies. Because today, for the African, especially the men, you need to have a mind to build. Thank you for listening. If you dare, buy us a coffee. The link is in the description.
Tata